I don't know how to say this. I keep thinking maybe I shouldn't tell him. Maybe I can still stop this.
December 26th, Houston's industrial zone, beneath a rusted bridge crossing the ship channel. A fisherman spots something caught on the concrete. Not debris. A body. Male, 35 years old, strangled with bare hands. This Christmas murder would expose a secret that destroyed 3 generations of one family. A secret involving a mother, a daughter, and the man caught between them. Because what happened in that house on Christmas Eve wasn't just infidelity. It was something far worse. By the time police arrived at 52 Wayside Drive, 3 children had already lost everything. Their father was dead. Their mother was about to be arrested. And the truth would prove that some betrayals run deeper than blood. This is the story of how a Christmas dinner ended in murder, and how a family's lies finally came home. Diana Curtis was 38 years old when her life ended. Not when she died, when she discovered the truth. She worked at Martinez Auto Repair in East Houston, $14 an hour, oil changes, brake jobs, transmission work. Her hands were always black with grease. Her back ached from crawling under trucks, but the work was steady. Every Friday, she cashed her paycheck and split it 3 ways. Mortgage, groceries, kids. That was the routine. That was survival. Her husband, Charles, was 35, a nurse at Houston Methodist Hospital. He worked the night shift, 12 hours, sometimes 14 when they were short-staffed. Cardiac unit, code blues, families crying in waiting rooms, death 3 times a week. When he came home at dawn, he'd collapse on the couch still wearing his scrubs. Diana would cover him with a blanket before leaving for work. They barely saw each other. But they made it work. Or so she thought. They had 3 kids. Kyle, 12, quiet, serious, always reading. Jamie, 9, wild energy, never stopped moving. Trent, 6, still believed in Santa Claus. Diana and Charles bought a house in 5th Ward when Kyle was born. 2 stories, peeling paint, chain-link fence around a yard the size of a parking space. Inside it was cramped, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, kitchen table with a wobbly leg Diana kept meaning to fix. But it was theirs. Every mortgage payment felt like victory. This was their life. Diana changing oil filters while her knees screamed. Charles holding the hand of a dying stranger at 3 a.m. Packing 3 school lunches every morning. PTA meetings, grocery shopping with coupons, splitting a single order of takeout between 2 people because money was tight. They weren't rich. They weren't even comfortable. But they were a family. And Diana believed in that. She believed in the life they'd built together. 15 years of marriage, 15 years of partnership, 15 years of trust. All of it was about to burn. The week before Christmas, Charles asked for time off. Rare, he never took time off. They needed the money. But he insisted. Charles, I need the 24th and 25th. Family time, it's important. Diana thought it was sweet. She thought he wanted to be present for once, to actually see the kids open their presents instead of hearing about it later. She didn't know Charles had other plans. She didn't know he'd spent the last 3 weeks preparing to destroy everything. Diana's parents lived 20 minutes away. Michelle Curtis, 62, tall, lean, gray hair pulled back tight, worked 30 years on the docks before her knees gave out. She didn't smile much, didn't hug, showed love through action, not words. Greg Curtis, 65, retired postal worker, soft-spoken, the kind of man who fixed things without being asked. They'd been married 40 years. Raised Diana, gave her everything they could on dock worker and mailman wages. Diana called her mother every Sunday, brought the kids over twice a month. Michelle was tough, intimidating even. But she was Diana's mother. Diana trusted her completely. Charles got along well with Diana's parents. Maybe too well. Every holiday, every birthday, Charles volunteered to pick Michelle up if Greg couldn't drive. He'd help her carry groceries, fix things around their house. Diana thought it was wonderful. Her husband and her mother getting along, no tension, no drama. She never noticed how Michelle looked at Charles. She never noticed how long their conversations lasted. She never noticed that when Charles worked late, Michelle's phone would light up with texts. Because why would she? This was her family. These were the people she loved most. December 24th started like any other Christmas Eve. Diana woke up early. Charles was still asleep after his last night shift before time off. She went to the garage, pulled out the bins of decorations. Garlands, ornaments, the plastic tree they'd had since Kyle was a baby. By the time Charles came downstairs, the living room was half decorated. Charles, you started without me. Diana, you looked exhausted, figured I'd get a head start. He didn't offer to help. He just stood there, watching her. Diana would replay that moment 1,000 times later. The way he looked at her, like he was already saying goodbye. By noon, the house smelled like pine and cinnamon. The kids were arguing over who got to put the star on the tree. Charles was in the kitchen, making hot chocolate. Everything looked perfect. But something was wrong. Diana could feel it. She just didn't know what it was yet. Before we continue, I need to ask you something. Have you ever felt that shift? When someone you love starts acting different but you can't explain how? When the air in your own home feels wrong, but you ignore it because acknowledging it means facing something you're not ready for. Diana felt it that morning, and she ignored it. Drop a comment if you've ever had that gut feeling and wish you'd listened to it. Hit subscribe, because what happens next will make you understand why instinct matters more than trust. Can you feel betrayal before you know it's happening? By 2 in the afternoon, the house had transformed. Kyle hung ornaments carefully, methodical like always. Jamie threw tinsel everywhere, laughing when it stuck to Trent's hair. Trent kept trying to plug things in, nearly electrocuting himself twice. Diana. Trent, no, how many times? Trent, but I want to help. Normal chaos, normal family. But Charles wasn't participating. He just watched, silent, his jaw tight. Diana caught his eye across the room. Diana, you okay? He blinked, forced a smile. Charles, yeah, just tired. But his hands were clenched into fists. Around 3, Charles disappeared into the kitchen. Diana heard him opening cabinets, the oven door creaking, pots clanging. She came in to check on him. Diana, need help? Charles, no. His voice was flat, cold. Diana. Charles, seriously, what's going on with you? He stopped chopping, set down the knife, turned to face her. Charles, nothing's going on, I'm making dinner. That's what you wanted, right? A nice family Christmas. The way he said family made Diana's stomach turn. Diana, why are you saying it like that? Charles, like what? Diana, like you don't mean it. Charles, go check on the kids, Diana. I'll handle dinner. She left, but the knot in her chest tightened. At 5:30, Diana called her parents. Diana, hey mom, still good to pick up the kids tonight? Am I CHLLE? Yeah, your father and I will be there around 6. Diana, thanks, Charles and I just need some time alone. You know how it is. M-I-C-H-E-L-L-E. I know. There was something in her mother's voice, something Diana couldn't identify. Not warmth, not concern, something else. Diana. Mom, you okay? M-I-C-H-E-L-L-E. I'm fine, see you soon. The line went dead. Diana stood there, phone in hand, staring at nothing. Charles made mulled wine. Cinnamon sticks, cloves, orange slices simmering in red wine. He poured 2 glasses, brought one to Diana in the living room. Charles. Here, you've been working hard. Diana. Thanks. Their fingers touched on the glass. Charles held on a second too long. Diana looked up at his face. He was staring at her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. Not love. Not desire. Something colder. Diana. Charles. Charles. Drink, you'll like it. He walked away before she could respond. Diana looked down at the wine in her hand. She didn't drink it. At 6 o'clock, a car pulled up outside. Diana's parents. Michelle got out first, tall, gray hair loose around her shoulders tonight instead of pulled back. She was wearing makeup. Diana couldn't remember the last time she'd seen her mother wear makeup. Greg looked tired, older than usual. The kids ran to the door, shouting over each other. KYLE. Grandma, Grandpa. JAMIE. Can we make cookies? Trent. Are you staying over too? Michelle knelt down, hugged each of them. But her eyes were on the house. Looking past the children. Looking for Charles. Charles came out of the kitchen, wiping his hands on a towel. It lasted 2 seconds. Maybe 3. But Diana saw it. The way Michelle's expression changed, softened. The way Charles's jaw unclenched. The way they both exhaled at the same time. Greg. Smells good in here. What are you making, Charles? Charles. Roast chicken, potatoes, nothing fancy. Greg. Sounds great. You two enjoy your evening. We'll take good care of these troublemakers. Michelle hadn't moved, still staring at Charles. MICHLLE. You ready for tomorrow? Charles. Yeah, I'm ready. Diana. Ready for what? Michelle blinked, turned to her daughter. MICHLLE. Christmas, he means Christmas. But that wasn't what she meant. And Charles knew it. The kids grabbed their backpacks. Kyle had his book, Jamie had her toy cars, Trent clutched his new action figure. Trent. When are you picking us up? Diana. Tomorrow afternoon, after you open presents at their house. JAMIE. Can we call you in the morning? Diana. Of course, baby. She kissed their foreheads, one by one. Charles stood by the door, didn't hug them, didn't say goodbye. Just watched. Greg herded the kids toward the car. Michelle lingered at the door. MICHLLE. Enjoy your time together. But she was looking at Charles when she said it. Diana saw it, but told herself it meant nothing. The door closed. The sound of Greg's car faded down the street. Silence. Heavy, suffocating. Diana turned to her husband. Diana. Okay, seriously, what the hell is going on? Charles walked to the couch, sat down, put his head in his hands. Charles. Nothing, I'm just stressed. Diana. Stressed about what? Charles, you've been acting like a ghost all day. You won't look at me, you won't talk to me, and that thing with my mom. Charles. What thing? Diana. The way you two were looking at each other, like you were having a whole conversation I wasn't part of. Charles. You're imagining things. Diana. No, I'm not. Charles stood up, walked toward the kitchen. Charles, dinner's almost ready. Let's just eat and try to have a nice evening, okay? But his voice cracked on the word. Nice. She didn't feel safe in her own home anymore. And she didn't know why. They set the table together in silence. White tablecloth, candles, their good plates. Charles brought out the food. Golden chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, rolls. It looked perfect, like a magazine spread. They sat down across from each other, started eating. Neither spoke. The only sound was forks scraping plates. Diana tried. Diana, the chicken's really good. Charles, thanks. Diana, kids are probably already tearing into the cookie dough at mom's. Charles, probably. Diana, Charles, please talk to me. He put down his fork, looked at her. Charles, what do you want me to say, Diana? Diana, the truth, whatever's eating at you, just say it. Charles, you really want the truth? Diana, yes. Charles, okay. He stood up, walked into the living room. Diana heard him open a drawer. He came back, holding a white envelope. Charles placed the envelope on the table, between the chicken and the candles. Charles, open it. Diana's hands shook as she picked it up. She tore it open, pulled out the papers inside. Visual close-up of papers, official seals, lab logos, columns of numbers. DNA analysis. Samples taken from Diana Curtis, Kyle Curtis, Jamie Curtis, Trent Curtis. She scanned the text. Didn't understand at first. Then the words came into focus. Maternity excluded. Probability of maternity, 0%. Diana Curtis is not the biological mother of any of the 3 children. She read it again. And again. Diana, what is this? Charles, what it says. Diana, this is a mistake. This has to be a mistake. Charles, it's not. I had it done twice. 2 different labs, same results. Diana looked up at him. Diana, then who? Charles, your mother. Stop for a second. Think about what Diana just heard. The children she carried, the bobbies she held in the delivery room, 15 years of motherhood. None of it real. Biologically, she's nothing to them. Now ask yourself this. How do you react when your entire identity is ripped away in one sentence? Do you scream? Do you shut down? Do you attack? Drop your honest answer below. And if you're still with me, hit that like button, because what Charles says next makes this so much worse. If biology doesn't make you a parent, what does? Diana stared at the papers, then at Charles, then back at the papers. Diana, my mother. Charles, yes. Diana, you're telling me you've been sleeping with my mother. Charles, yes. Diana, and Kyle, Jamie, Trent, they're hers, not mine. Charles, biologically, yes. Diana's hands crushed the papers. Diana, how long? Charles, from the beginning. Diana, from the beginning of what? Charles, our marriage. Diana, 15 years. Charles, yes. Diana, you've been sleeping with my mother for 15 years. Charles didn't respond, just stood there watching her. Diana's voice dropped to a whisper. Diana, when did it start? Charles, 3 weeks after the wedding. Diana, 3 weeks. Charles, your mother came over when you were at work, said she wanted to check on us, make sure we were settling in. Charles. We talked, she stayed for coffee. One thing led to another. Diana. One thing led to another. That's how you describe it. Charles. What do you want me to say? Diana. I want you to tell me why. Why her? Why my mother? Charles sat back down at the table. Charles. Because she wanted me. And you were always exhausted, always at work, always distracted. Diana. I was working to pay our bills. Charles. I know. Diana. So you punished me by sleeping with my mother. Charles. It wasn't about punishment. Diana. Then what was it about? Charles. She made me feel needed. Diana laughed. A cold, broken sound. Diana's voice shook. Diana. The kids, when I got pregnant with Kyle. Charles. You didn't get pregnant, Michelle did. Diana. I gave birth to him. I was in labor for 19 hours. Charles. Because we implanted Michelle's fertilized egg in you. Diana. What? Charles. Michelle couldn't carry another pregnancy after you. Medical complications. But she wanted more children, so we used IVF. Diana. IVF. Charles. Michelle's eggs, my sperm, implanted in you as the surrogate. Diana. I wasn't a surrogate, I was your wife. Charles. You were both. Diana stood up so fast her chair crashed backward. Diana. You're telling me every pregnancy, all three, you used me as an incubator for my mother's children. Charles. That's not how I'd phrase it. Diana. How would you phrase it, Charles? Because from where I'm standing, you and my mother turned me into livestock. Charles. Diana. Diana. Does Dad know? Charles. No. Diana. Does he know any of this? Charles. No, Michelle never told him. Diana. So you've been lying to him too. Charles. It was easier that way. Diana pressed her palms against the wall. Trying to breathe. Trying to process. Diana. Why are you telling me this now? Charles. Because we're done hiding. She turned around. Diana. What? Charles. Michelle and I were done pretending. Diana. Pretending what? Charles. That we're not together, that this isn't real. Charles. She's leaving your father, I'm leaving you, we're filing for divorce. Diana. You're leaving me. Charles. Yes. Diana. For my mother. Charles. Yes. Diana. And the kids. Charles. They're coming with us. They're Michelle's children. Biologically, legally, we'll fight for custody. Diana. Legally. Charles. You're not their biological mother, Diana. A judge will see that. Diana took a step toward him. Diana. I raised them. I was there for every fever, every nightmare, every scraped knee. I'm their mother. Charles. Biology says otherwise. Diana. Biology. Charles. That's what the courts care about. Diana. The courts. Her voice rose. Diana. You planned this, both of you, for how long? Charles. 3 weeks. Michelle and I discussed it. We decided it was time. Diana. Time for what? Charles. To be honest, to stop living a lie. Diana's laugh was sharp. Diana. You've been lying for 15 years, and now you want to talk about honesty. Charles leaned back in his chair. Calm, cold. Charles. I know this is hard to hear. Diana. Hard to hear. Charles. But it's better this way. Clean break. You can move on, find someone else. Diana. Find someone else. Charles. You're still young, you'll be fine. Diana stared at him. At this man she'd loved for 15 years. This stranger sitting at her table. Diana. Who are you? Charles. What? Diana. The man I married, he wouldn't do this. He wouldn't say these things. Charles. The man you married never existed, Diana. That was a role I played. Charles. I'm sorry you're hurt, but Michelle and I, what we have is real. Diana. What you have? Charles. Yes. Diana. You have my life. You have my children. You have 15 years of lies. Charles. We have each other. Diana picked up her wine glass. For a moment, Charles thought she'd throw it. But she just drank. Drained the whole glass. Set it down carefully. Diana. When were you planning to tell the kids? Charles. After the divorce is finalized. Diana. And until then. Charles. We keep things normal. Diana. Normal. Charles. Yes. Diana. You want me to keep pretending everything's fine while you destroy my family. Charles. It's for the best. Diana. For who? Charles. For everyone. Diana walked to the living room. Charles stayed at the table. Presents under the tree. Tags written in her handwriting. To Kyle, love Mom. To Jamie, love Mom. To Trent, love Mom. Mom. A lie. All of it. Behind her, Charles cleared the table. Like this was just another dinner. Like he hadn't just detonated her entire existence. The sound of dishes clanking. Water running. Humming. He was humming. Diana turned around. Diana. How can you be so calm? Charles not looking up. Because it needed to happen. Diana. Needed to happen. Charles. Yes, we couldn't keep lying forever. Diana. You could have kept lying to me just fine. You did it for 15 years. Charles. Michelle wanted to be honest. Diana. Michelle. Charles. She's tired of hiding. She wants to be with me openly. Diana crossed the room. Stood in the kitchen doorway. Diana. Does she know you're telling me tonight? Charles. Yes, we planned it together. Diana. Together. Charles. She's the one who suggested Christmas. Said it would give you time to process before the kids come back. Diana. How thoughtful. Charles. Diana. Diana. My mother, the woman who raised me, who taught me right from wrong, who told me to honor my marriage vows. Diana. She was sleeping with my husband the whole time. Charles. It's complicated. Diana. No, it's not. Charles dried his hands on a towel. Turned to face her. Charles. Look, I know you're angry. Diana. Angry. Charles. But eventually you'll understand. Michelle and I were meant to be together. Diana. Meant to be together. Charles. Yes. Diana. So all those years you came home and kissed me goodnight. All those times you said you loved me. All those moments. Charles. I cared about you, I did. Diana. Cared. Charles. But I love her. 3 words. Simple final. I love her. Diana. Get out. Charles. What? Diana. Get out of this house. Charles. Diana, let's be reasonable. Diana. Reasonable. Her voice rose. Diana, you want me to be reasonable after what you just told me? Charles, we're both adults. We can handle this maturely. Diana. Maturely. She laughed. That same cold, broken sound. Diana, you've been sleeping with my mother for 15 years. You stole my children. You're leaving me for her. And you want me to handle it maturely. Charles, I'm trying to be civil. Diana. Civil. She grabbed the floor lamp. Charles took a step back. Charles. Diana, don't. She ripped it from the wall, swung it like a bat. The lampshade burst, drywall dented, shards scattered across the floor. One of the candles on the table went out. Diana stood there, breathing hard, lamp still in her hands. Charles stared at her. Charles, are you done? Those 3 words. Are you done? Said with such condescension, such dismissal, like she was a child throwing a tantrum. She dropped the lamp. It clattered on the floor. Walked toward him. Slowly. Charles. Diana. Diana. Shut up. Charles. Let's talk about this. Diana. I said shut up. She was 3 feet away. 2 feet. 1. Standing right in front of him. Charles. What are you doing? Diana's hands came up. Vast. Reached for his throat. Here's what I need you to understand. Diana didn't plan this. She didn't wake up that morning thinking she'd kill her husband. But when Charles looked at her, after everything he'd said, everything he'd done, and asked, "Are you done?" something fundamental snapped. Now tell me this. Is there a sentence someone could say to you that would push you past the point of no return? A single phrase that would make you lose every ounce of control? Be honest in the comments, because what happens in the next 60 seconds changes everything. Hit that subscribe button. You need to see this. Does betrayal justify violence, or does violence erase the betrayal? Diana's hands closed around Charles's throat. Not gently, not hesitantly, with force. Charles choking. Diana, stop. She didn't. Her grip tightened. Charles grabbed her wrists, trying to pry her fingers away. But Diana was stronger than he thought. 15 years of crawling under cars. 15 years of lifting transmissions. 15 years of physical labor. Her hands were calloused, strong. And right now they were weapons. Charles, please. Diana's face was inches from his. Diana, 15 years. She squeezed harder. Diana, 15 years. Charles's face turned red, then purple. His eyes bulged. He clawed at her arms, scratched deep, drew blood. But Diana didn't let go. Charles tried to push her away, but his back was against the counter. Nowhere to go. His legs kicked, hit the cabinet doors. One foot caught Diana's shin. She stumbled but didn't release him. Diana, you don't get to leave. You don't get to take them. Charles's hands found her face. Pushed, scratched, tried to gouge. One fingernail caught her cheek. Ripped skin. Diana screamed, but her hand stayed locked around his throat. Diana, they're mine. They're my children. Charles's struggles weakened. His hands dropped from her face, fell to his sides. His eyes rolled back. Diana kept squeezing. Diana, do you hear me? They're mine. But Charles couldn't hear anything anymore. Charles's body went slack, full weight against Diana's hands. She held on for 5 more seconds. 10. 15. Then her hands opened. Charles collapsed. Diana stepped back, breathing hard, staring. Diana. Charles. No response. She knelt down, put her ear to his chest. Nothing. No heartbeat. No breath. Diana. Charles, wake up. She shook him. His head lolled. Diana. No, 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 no. She checked his pulse. Wrist, neck. Nothing. Diana. Charles. She shook him harder. Diana. Wake up, please wake up. But Charles was gone. Diana sat back on her heels, staring at her husband's body on the kitchen floor. One candle still burning on the dining table, casting shadows across his face. Diana's hands were still shaking. She looked at them. These hands, the same hands that held her children, changed their diapers, braided Jamie's hair, taught Kyle to tie his shoes. These hands just killed a man. Diana, what did I do? She stood up, backed away from the body. Diana, what did I do? What did I do? Her breathing quickened, hyperventilating. She grabbed the edge of the table to steady herself. Diana, okay, think. But she couldn't think. Her mind was white noise. Static. Terror. Diana looked at the clock. 8:47 p.m. The kids were at her parents' house. Safe. Greg was probably reading them a story. Michelle was probably on her phone, texting Charles, waiting for confirmation that he'd told Diana, waiting for the plan to move forward. Diana looked down at Charles's body. Diana. No. She knelt beside him again. Diana. You don't get to win, neither of you. She grabbed his wrist, tried to drag him. He was heavy, 200 pounds of dead weight. She got him 5 feet before her back screamed. Diana. Come on, move. She repositioned, grabbed under his arms, pulled harder, inch by inch, across the kitchen, through the living room, past the Christmas tree. Diana dragged Charles through the door to the garage. Her truck was parked inside. She opened the tailgate, looked at Charles's body on the concrete floor, then at the truck bed, 4 feet high. Diana. Okay, you can do this. She grabbed a moving blanket from the shelf. Old, stained, smelled like motor oil. She rolled Charles onto it, wrapped him, then tried to lift him into the truck. He was too heavy. She couldn't get the leverage. Diana. Come on. She tried again, grabbed his shoulders, heaved with everything she had, managed to get his upper body onto the tailgate, then his torso, then his legs. He rolled into the truck bed with a heavy thump. Diana stood there, hands on knees, gasping for air. Diana got behind the wheel, started the engine, hit the garage door opener. The door rolled up. Outside, the street was dark, empty. Christmas lights on neighboring houses. Everyone inside with their families. Diana backed out of the driveway, put the truck in drive, headed east, toward the ship channel. She knew exactly where to go. The industrial zone, where she'd worked for 6 months before Martinez Auto Repair. A warehouse near the water. Abandoned now. Fenced off. But Diana knew the hole in the fence. The spot under the bridge where homeless people camped in summer. The concrete ledge where the water was deep. She drove in silence, No radio, no thoughts, just the sound of the engine, and her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. Diana pulled off East Houston Boulevard, down a gravel access road, killed the headlights, let her eyes adjust. Moonlight reflected off the ship channel. Dark, oily, cold. She drove slowly, through the hole in the fence, down to the water's edge, parked under the bridge support. Diana got out, walked around to the truck bed, opened the tailgate. The wrapped body, still, silent. She grabbed the blanket, pulled, dragged it to the water's edge. The concrete ledge was slippery. Moss algae. She positioned Charles's body at the edge, looked down at the black water. Diana, I'm sorry. She didn't know who she was apologizing to. Charles, herself, the kids. She pushed. The body rolled, splashed into the water. Bubbles. Then nothing. Diana stood there, watching the water settle. Diana drove back toward Wayside Drive, stopped at a storm drain near Harrisburg Street, got out, found Charles's phone in her jacket pocket. Michelle, calling to see if Charles had done it, if the plan had worked. Diana threw the phone into the drain, got back in the truck, drove home. The street was still empty when she pulled into her driveway. Diana parked in the garage, closed the door behind her, stood there, in the dark, surrounded by tools and oil stains and the smell of her own crime. She walked inside, past the Christmas tree, past the dining table with one candle burned down to nothing, past the kitchen where Charles had died, up the stairs, into the bathroom. Blood on her face, scratches on her arms, marks on her hands. She looked like a stranger. She turned on the shower, got in fully clothed, let the water run cold. And she didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stood there, watching the evidence wash away. Diana Curtis just murdered her husband, disposed of his body, and went home to sleep in the bed they shared for 15 years. Tomorrow morning she'll call the police. She'll report him missing. She'll cry on cue. And for a while she'll get away with it. But here's what I need you to ask yourself. At what point did Diana cross the line from victim to villain? Was it when her hands closed around his throat? When she dumped his body in the channel? Or was it the moment she decided to lie to the police? Drop your answer in the comments, and hit that like button if you understand that guilt isn't always black and white. Subscribe because the police are coming, and Diana's performance is about to be tested. If murder was your only option, could you look in the mirror afterward? Diana woke up at 6:47 a.m. She hadn't slept, just laid there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle. Every creak sounded like footsteps. Every gust of wind against the window sounded like sirens. She sat up, looked at Charles's side of the bed. Still made. He never came to bed last night. Of course he didn't. Diana stood, walked to the bathroom, looked in the mirror. Evidence. She touched the scratch gently, winced. Good. She needed it to look real. Diana went downstairs. The house looked like a crime scene. She got to work. First the blood stain. Bleach, hot water, scrub brush. She worked until her knuckles were raw. The stain lightened, faded, but didn't disappear completely. Diana grabbed the kitchen rug, covered it. Next, the broken lamp. She swept up the glass, every shard, put them in a trash bag. took the bag outside to the garbage bin, buried it under other trash. The dent in the wall. She couldn't fix that, but she took down the family photo that hung there, moved it 2 feet to the left. Now it covered the damage. The dining table. She stripped the tablecloth, put it in the washing machine. Hot water, extra detergent. Then she reset the table. New tablecloth. Clean plates. Like dinner never happened. At 9:15 a.m., Diana's phone rang. Michelle. Diana stared at it. Let it ring. Once. Twice. 3 times. On the 4th ring, she answered. Diana. Hello. Her voice was steady. Michelle. Diana, it's Mom. Diana. Hi, Mom. Michelle. How was your evening? Diana. Fine. Michelle. Just fine. Diana. Yeah, we had dinner, watched a movie, went to bed early. Silence on the other end. Michelle. Where's Charles? Diana. He's not here. Michelle. What do you mean? Diana. He left around 9 last night. Said he was going to see his dad. Michelle. Derek. Diana. Yeah, said Derek was alone for Christmas, and he felt bad. Michelle. And he hasn't come back. Diana. No, I've been calling his phone all morning. It goes straight to voicemail. Another pause. Michelle. Maybe his battery died. Diana. Maybe. Michelle. Did you two fight? Diana. No, why would we fight? Michelle. No reason, just asking. Diana. We had a nice evening, Mom. Everything was fine. Michelle. Okay, well, the kids are asking when you're coming to get them. Diana. I'll come by this afternoon, once Charles gets back. Michelle. All right, call me if you need anything. Diana. I will. Diana hung up. Michelle knew. Diana could hear it in her voice. The careful questions. The pauses. Michelle was waiting to see if Charles had told her. And now Michelle was wondering why Charles hadn't called. At 10:30 a.m., Diana called Derek, Charles's father. He answered on the 2nd ring. Derek. Hello. Diana. Derek, hi, it's Diana. Derek. Diana, Merry Christmas, sweetheart, how are you? Diana. I'm okay, listen, is Charles with you? Derek. Charles? No, why would he be here? Diana. He left last night around 9, said he was coming to see you, wanted to wish you Merry Christmas. Derek. He didn't come here, I haven't seen him since Thanksgiving. Diana let silence hang. Diana. He didn't come. Derek. No, Diana, what's going on? Diana. I don't know, he left and he hasn't come back. His phone's off. Derek. Did you two have an argument? Diana. No, everything was fine. He just said he wanted to see you and then he left. Derek. That's strange. Diana. I'm starting to get worried. Derek. Maybe he stopped somewhere, got caught up with friends. Diana. On Christmas night. Derek. You're right, that doesn't make sense. Diana. I'm going to give it a few more hours. If he's not back by this evening, I'll call the police. Derek. Let me know if you hear from him. I'll call around, see if anyone's seen him. Diana. Thank you, Derek. Diana hung up. The story was set. Charles left to visit his father. Never arrived. Disappeared somewhere in between. Diana spent the rest of the morning making herself visible. She drove to the grocery store. Bought milk, bread, eggs. Made small talk with the cashier. Cashier. Merry Christmas, how was your holiday? Diana. Quiet, nice. Cashier. That's good, family time is the best. Diana. It is. She smiled. Paid cash. Left. Filled up her truck. Went inside to buy coffee. The attendant would remember her. Normal, calm, nothing suspicious. Back home she cleaned. Vacuumed. Did laundry. Every action documented by time. Every action building her alibi. She was home. Worried. Waiting for her husband to return. Just a wife concerned about her missing spouse. At 2:00 p.m. Michelle called again. Michael. Diana, the kids really want to see you. When are you coming? Diana. Charles still isn't back. Michael. What? Diana. I called his dad. Charles never showed up there. Michael. Where is he? Diana. I don't know, Mom. I'm starting to panic. Michael. Have you called hospitals? Diana. Not yet. I was hoping he'd just come home. Michael. Diana, if he's been missing since last night. Diana. I know. I'm going to call the police. Michael. Do you want me to come over? Diana. No, stay with the kids. I don't want them to worry. Michael. Okay, call me after you talk to the police. Diana. I will. Diana hung up. She waited 30 minutes. Let the timeline stretch. Then she dialed 911. Narrator. 911 operator. 911, what's your emergency? Diana. My husband is missing. He left last night and he hasn't come back. Operator. Okay, ma'am, what's your name? Diana. Diana Curtis. Operator. And your husband's name? Diana. Charles Curtis. He's 35. He left around 9 p.m. on Christmas night. Said he was going to visit his father in Southwest Houston. Operator. And he never arrived. Diana. No, I called his dad this morning. Charles never showed up. Operator. Have you tried calling your husband's phone? Diana, voice breaking. Yes, it goes straight to voicemail. I've called 20 times. Operator. Okay, ma'am. I understand you're concerned, but adults are allowed to go where they want. We typically need to wait 48 hours before filing a missing person report. Diana. 48 hours? What if something happened to him? Operator. If you believe he's in immediate danger, you can file a report at your local station. But in most cases, people return on their own within a day or two. Diana. He wouldn't just leave, not without calling. We have 3 kids. Operator. I understand. Let me get some information from you. The operator took down details. Physical description. What he was wearing. Vehicle information. Operator. Did your husband take his car? Diana. No, he called a taxi. Operator. Do you know which company? Diana. No, he just called from his phone. Operator. Okay, we'll make a note of this. If he doesn't return by tomorrow evening, go to your local precinct and file a formal report. Diana. That's it. Operator. I'm sorry, ma'am, that's our protocol. Diana. Okay, thank you. Diana hung up. It was done. The report was filed. The timeline was set. Now she just had to wait. Diana didn't pick up the kids that day. Called Michelle. Diana. Mom, can you keep them one more night? I'm too upset to drive. Michalle. Of course, have you heard anything? Diana. No, nothing. Michalle. I'm sure he's fine. He probably just needed space. Diana. Space. Michalle. You know how men get. Sometimes they need to clear their heads. Diana's hand tightened on the phone. Diana. Yeah, maybe. Michalle. Get some rest. He'll probably be back in the morning. Diana. Okay, Mom. She hung up. That night, Diana sat in the living room. Lights off except for the tree. She sat on the couch. Same spot where Charles had sat 2 nights ago. Where he'd told her the truth. She didn't feel guilty. She didn't feel scared. She felt nothing. Empty. Like she'd burned out everything inside her when her hands closed around his throat. Outside, carolers walked down the street, singing Silent Night. Ciarles. All is calm, all is bright. Diana closed her eyes and waited for morning. December 26th, 7:03 a.m. Terrence Walker cast his line into the water. He'd been coming to this spot for 12 years. Retired from General Motors. Fishing was his meditation. The channel was calm this morning. Quiet. Just the sound of water lapping against concrete. He took a sip of coffee. Watched his bobber float. Then he saw it. At first, he thought it was a bag of trash. Debris. But the shape was wrong. Too large. Too solid. Terrence stood. Walked closer to the water's edge. Not trash. A body. Wrapped in a blanket. Caught on the rebar sticking out from the bridge support. Face down in the water. Terrence's hands shook as he pulled out his phone. TRNC. 911, I need police. I found a body. Houston Ship Channel, under the bridge on East Houston Boulevard. Please hurry. He waited. Couldn't stop staring at the body. The blanket moving with the current. The stillness of death. 15 minutes later, sirens. Yellow tape. Uniformed officers. Forensic teams in white suits. Detective Sarah Ashford arrived at 8:30 a.m. Got out of her car. Walked to the water's edge. She'd seen a lot of bodies. Gunshots, stabbings. Overdoses. But strangulation always hit different. Personal. Intimate. You had to look someone in the eyes while you killed them that way. ASHFORD. Male, mid-30s, strangulation. How long's he been in the water? Forensic tech. Less than 24 hours, body's still fresh. ASHFORD. ID. Tech. Nothing on him. No wallet, no phone, no jewelry. ASHFORD. Check missing persons. 30 minutes later, her partner Marcus Lambert arrived. Lambert. What have we got? ASHFORD. John Doe, strangled, dumped in the channel sometime yesterday. Lambert. Robbery. Maybe, or someone wanted to hide his identity. Her phone buzzed. Text from the station. ASHFORD. We've got a name. She showed Lambert the screen. Lambert. Recently reported. ASHFORD. Wife called 911 last night at 11:45 p.m. Said he left Christmas night and never came back. Lambert. Less than 24 hours before she reported him. ASHFORD. Yeah. They exchanged a look. Lambert. Let's go talk to the wife. Diana Curtis has less than 4 hours before police knock on her door. 4 hours to make sure her story is airtight. 4 hours to convince 2 detectives that she's a grieving wife and not a murderer. But here's the thing about lying to police. They're trained to see through you. Every word you choose, every pause, every micro-expression. They're watching, and Diana's about to give the performance of her life. So tell me, if you had to lie to save yourself, could you do it? Could you look trained investigators in the eye and sell them a complete fiction? Drop your answer below. Hit that subscribe button because Detective Ashford is about to meet Diana Curtis. And one of them is going to break. Does being a good liar make you a bad person or just a survivor? Diana was folding laundry in the living room. She'd been awake for 31 hours, her body running on adrenaline and fear. Every sound made her jump. Every car that passed made her heart race. Then she heard it. The knock. 3 sharp raps. Official. Authoritative. Diana set down the laundry, walked to the door, took a breath, opened it. 2 people stood on her porch. A woman tall, late 40s, gray streaks in her dark hair. A man, younger, sharp suit, observant eyes. ASHFORD. Diana Curtis. Diana. Yes. ASHFORD. I'm Detective Sarah Ashford. This is Detective Marcus Lambert. We're with Houston Police Department. May we come in? Diana's hand tightened on the door. Diana. What's this about? ASHFORD. We need to talk to you about your husband. Diana's face crumpled. Diana. Did you find him? Is he okay? Lambert and Ashford exchanged a glance. ASHFORD. Can we come inside, Mrs. Curtis? Diana stepped back. Let them in. They sat in the living room. Diana on the couch. Ashford and Lambert in chairs across from her. Ashford noticed everything. The family photos on the mantel. The children's toys in the corner. The slight discoloration on the wall where something had recently been moved. ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, I'm very sorry to tell you this, but a body was found this morning in the Houston Ship Channel. Diana's hands flew to her mouth. Diana. No. ASHFORD. We need you to look at a photo to help us identify him. Diana. I can't look at that. Lambert. I know this is difficult, but we need to be sure it's your husband. Diana's whole body trembled. Diana. How did he? ASHFORD. We're still investigating. Can you look at the photo? Diana nodded. Ashford pulled out her tablet, opened a photo, turned it toward Diana. Diana looked, made a sound, not a scream, a keening, low guttural. Diana. That's him, that's Charles. She bent forward, sobbing. Lambert moved to the couch, sat beside her, put a hand on her shoulder. Lambert. I'm so sorry for your loss. Diana buried her face in her hands. Her shoulders shook. Ashford watched, studying her. The grief looked real, but Ashford had seen good actors before. Narrator. Ashford waited. Let Diana cry. Gave her 3 minutes. Then she opened her notebook. ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, I know this is hard, but we need to ask you some questions. Diana lifted her head, wiped her eyes with her sleeve. Diana. Okay. ASHFORD. When was the last time you saw your husband? Diana. Christmas night, around 9 o'clock. ASHFORD. What happened that night? Diana. We had dinner, just the two of us. The kids were at my parents' house. ASHFORD. What time did you eat? Diana. Around 6:30. We finished around 8. ASHFORD. How did Charles seem? Diana. Normal, quiet, but that's how he always is after work. ASHFORD. Did you argue? Diana. No, everything was fine. ASHFORD. What happened after dinner? Diana. We cleaned up, watched TV for a bit. Then Charles said he wanted to go see his dad. ASHFORD. His father, what's his name? Diana. Derek Hunter. He lives on the southwest side. ASHFORD. Why did Charles want to see him? Diana. Derek was alone for Christmas. Charles felt bad, wanted to wish him Merry Christmas in person. Lambert wrote notes. Lambert. What time did he leave? Diana. Around 9, maybe 9:15. Lambert. How did he get there? Diana. He called a taxi. ASHFORD. Do you know which company? Diana. No, he just used his phone. ASHFORD. Did you see him get in the taxi? Diana. Yes, from the window. I watched him leave. Ashford made a note. ASHFORD. What did you do after he left? Diana. I cleaned up, watched TV, went to bed around midnight. ASHFORD. When did you start to worry? Diana. When I woke up and he wasn't home. I called him around 7 a.m. His phone was off. ASHFORD. Did you call his father? Diana. Yes, around 10:30. Derek said Charles never showed up. ASHFORD. What did you do then? Diana. I waited a few more hours, then I called 911. Ashford flipped through her notes. ASHFORD. Did your husband have any enemies? Anyone who might want to hurt him? Diana. No, Charles was quiet. He worked at the hospital, came home, that was it. Lambert. What about money problems, debts? Diana. We're not rich, but we manage. Nothing unusual. ASHFORD. Affairs. Was your husband seeing anyone? Diana's jaw tightened for just a second. Diana. No. ASHFORD. You're sure? Diana. Yes, we've been married 15 years. I would know. A car pulled up outside. Diana. That's my parents. They're bringing the kids home. ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, maybe we should tell them first, before the children come inside. Diana nodded. Stood. Walked to the door. Michelle saw the police car. Her face hardened. Diana stepped outside. Ashford and Lambert followed. Diana. Mom, Dad, can you come here for a second? Leave the kids in the car. Michelle and Greg approached. Greg looked confused. Michelle looked prepared. Greg. Diana, what's going on? Why are the police here? Diana's voice broke. Diana. Dad, it's Charles, he's. She couldn't finish. Greg's face went pale. Greg. No, please. ASHFORD. Mr. Curtis, Mrs. Curtis, I'm Detective Ashford. I'm very sorry, but Charles Curtis was found deceased this morning. Greg made a choking sound. Grabbed Michelle's arm for support. Michelle stood perfectly still. Her face showed shock, but her eyes were calculating. Greg. How, what happened? Lambert. We're still investigating. MICHLLE. Where did you find him? ASHFORD. The ship channel, industrial zone. Michelle's hand went to her throat. MICHLLE. The ship channel, what was he doing there? Diana. I don't know, Mom. I thought he went to see Derek. Michelle turned to her daughter. Michael. Derek. Diana. That's what he told me. Michael. When? Diana. Christmas night before he left. Something passed between them. A look. Lambert caught it. ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, the elder Mrs. Curtis, when was the last time you saw Charles? Michelle blinked. Turned to Ashford. Michael. December 24th, evening, Greg and I came to pick up the grandchildren. ASHFORD. How did Charles seem? Michael. Normal, tired. He'd been working a lot. ASHFORD. Did he say anything about visiting anyone on Christmas? Michael. No. ASHFORD. Did he seem upset, stressed? Michael. No more than usual. Greg was crying now. Quiet tears running down his face. Greg. I need to sit down. Diana. Come inside, Dad. They walked into the house. Michelle stayed outside for a moment. Looking at Lambert. Michael. How did he die? Lambert. We can't share details yet. It's an active investigation. Michael. Was it quick? Lambert paused. Lambert. We don't know. Michelle nodded. Walked inside. Lambert looked at Ashford. Lambert. Something's off with the mother. ASHFORD. I saw it too. Inside, Greg sat on the couch. Head in hands. Diana sat beside him. Michelle stood by the window. ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, do you need help telling the children? Diana looked up. Red eyes, swollen face. Diana. I don't know how to tell them. Lambert. Would you like us to step outside while you talk to them? Diana. Yes, please. Ashford and Lambert went outside. Stood by their car. Watched through the window. Kyle 12, serious face. Jamie 9, already sensing something wrong. Trent 6, clutching a stuffed animal. They walked into the house. Through the window, Ashford and Lambert could see Diana kneeling, pulling the children close. Her mouth moving. Diana held them. All three. Crying together. Lambert. The mother's not crying. ASHFORD. No, she's not. Lambert. Could be shock. ASHFORD. Could be. They watched a moment longer. ASHFORD. Let's give them space. We'll come back tomorrow when Diana's had time to process. They got in their car. Lambert. What do you think? ASHFORD. I think the wife's story is clean, too clean. Lambert. You think she's lying? ASHFORD. I think we need to check that taxi, and I want to talk to the father, Derek Hunter. Lambert. And the mother, Michelle. ASHFORD. Her too, something's not right there. Lambert started the car. Inside, Diana held her children. And Michelle stood at the window, watching the detectives leave. Diana just passed her first test. The detectives believed her grief was real. Because in some ways it was. She lost her husband, her marriage, her life as she knew it. The fact that she's the one who ended it doesn't make the loss less painful. But Detective Ashford is good at her job. And she noticed something Diana didn't realize she'd revealed. A tiny crack in the performance. Now here's my question for you. When you're grieving something you destroyed yourself, is the grief still valid? Drop your thoughts below. Hit subscribe, because tomorrow the detectives are going to start pulling threads. And Diana's perfect story is about to unravel. Can you mourn someone you murdered? December 27th, Houston Police Department. Ashford had spent all night calling taxi companies. 6 major services in Houston. None of them had a record of a pickup from 52 Wayside Drive on Christmas night. ASHFORD. Nothing, not one company logged a trip from that address. Lambert. Maybe he used an app, Uber, Lyft. ASHFORD. Already checked. No rides ordered from Charles Curtis's phone that night. Lambert. So either Diana's lying about the taxi. ASHFORD. Or Charles never left in a taxi at all. Lambert leaned back. Lambert. Let's talk to the father, see if Diana's story holds. Derek Hunter lived in a small apartment 20 minutes from Diana's house. Derek answered, eyes red, unshaven. DRK. Detectives, come in. They sat in his cramped living room. ASHFORD. Mr. Hunter, we're very sorry for your loss. DRK. Thank you. ASHFORD. We need to ask you about Christmas night. Diana said Charles was coming to see you. DRK. She called me yesterday, but Charles never came here. Lambert. You're certain? DRK. I was home all night, alone. If he'd come, I would have seen him. ASHFORD. Did Charles call you, text you? DRK. No, nothing. Ashford made notes. ASHFORD. Did Charles have any problems you knew about? Money, relationship issues? Derek hesitated. DRK. He seemed distant lately, last few weeks, but he didn't talk to me much. Lambert. Distant how? DRK. Distracted, like something was weighing on him. ASHFORD. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. We'll be in touch. They left. In the car, Lambert spoke first. Lambert. Diana lied. Charles never went to his father's. ASHFORD. Which means we need to find out where he really went, or if he went anywhere at all. Narrator. That afternoon, someone walked into the police station. Michelle Curtis. Diana's mother. MICHLLE. I need to speak to the detectives investigating Charles Curtis's murder. The desk sergeant called Ashford. 5 minutes later, Michelle sat across from Ashford and Lambert in an interrogation room. ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, what can we do for you? Michelle's hands were folded on the table. Steady. MICHLLE. I have information about Charles's death. Lambert. What kind of information? Michelle took a breath. MICHLLE. I was having an affair with him. Silence. ASHFORD. I'm sorry. MICHLLE. Charles and I, we were together for 15 years. Lambert's pen stopped moving. Lambert. You're telling us you had a relationship with your daughter's husband. MICHLLE. Yes. ASHFORD. For 15 years. MICHLLE. Since 3 weeks after their wedding. Ashford leaned forward. ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, why are you telling us this? MICHLLE. Because I think Diana found out, and I think she killed him. Michelle told them everything. The affair. The IVF. The 3 children, Kyle, Jamie, Trent, all biologically hers and Charles's. MICHLLE. Diana carried them, but they're not her biological children. They're mine. Lambert. Does Diana know this? MICHLLE. Charles was going to tell her on Christmas Eve, We decided to stop hiding. ASHFORD. You were planning to leave your husband. MICHLLE. Yes, Charles was going to divorce Diana. We were going to be together. ASHFORD. And you think Diana found out. MICHLLE. I know she did. Charles planned to tell her that night. Lambert. Did Charles call you after he told her? MICHLLE. No, his phone went dark around 9 p.m. I kept calling. Nothing. ASHFORD. Where were you that night? MICHLLE. At home with my husband and grandchildren. Greg can confirm. Ashford sat back. ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, you understand this gives Diana a motive. MICHLLE. I know, that's why I'm here. Lambert. You're willing to testify against your daughter. Michelle's face hardened. MICHLLE. If she killed Charles, yes. Ashford and Lambert canvassed Wayside Drive. Most people saw nothing until they reached Ethan Porter's house. 72, retired postal worker. ETHAN. Yeah, I saw Diana's truck leave that night, around midnight. ASHFORD. You're certain it was her truck? ETHAN. Gray Ford pickup, same one she drives to work every day. Lambert. Did you see who was driving? ETHAN. The silhouette looked like a woman, smaller build, long hair. ASHFORD. Which direction? ETHAN. East, toward the industrial area. Ashford and Lambert exchanged looks. ASHFORD. What time did she come back? ETHAN. I was asleep by then, but the truck was back in the morning. They pulled traffic camera footage. 11:47 p.m., December 25th. Gray Ford pickup, Diana's license plate. Turning onto East Houston Boulevard. Heading toward the ship channel. 1:23 a.m., December 26th. Same truck returning. Lambert. 1 hour 36 minutes. ASHFORD. Enough time to drive to the channel, dispose of a body and return. Lambert. We've got her. ASHFORD. Get the warrant. December 28th, 3:00 p.m. Ashford knocked. Diana answered. Saw the patrol cars. Her face went white. Diana. What's happening? ASHFORD. Mrs. Curtis, we have some questions about Christmas night. Diana. I already told you everything. ASHFORD. You told us Charles left in a taxi. Diana. He did. ASHFORD. No taxi company has a record of that trip. Diana. Maybe it was an unlicensed driver. Lambert. We have traffic camera footage. Your truck leaving at 11:47 p.m., heading toward the ship channel where we found your husband's body. Diana's mouth opened. No sound came out. ASHFORD. You lied to us, Mrs. Curtis. Diana. I can explain. Lambert. Your neighbor saw you leave. The cameras caught you. You were gone for over an hour. Diana backed away. Diana. I didn't. She turned. Ran. ASHFORD. Stop. Patrol officers grabbed her. Pushed her against the wall. Handcuffs clicked. ASHFORD. Diana Curtis, you're under arrest for the murder of Charles Curtis. Diana stopped struggling. Went limp. Let them lead her to the car. Diana sat in the interrogation room for 2 hours. Silent. Staring at the table. Finally, Ashford and Lambert entered. ASHFORD. Diana, we have everything. The footage, the witness, your mother's statement about the affair. Diana's head snapped up. Diana. My mother. Lambert. She came to us yesterday, told us about her relationship with Charles, about the children. Diana's face twisted. Diana. She told you. ASHFORD. She said Charles was planning to leave you, that he told you on Christmas Eve. Diana laughed. Cold, bitter. Diana. Of course she did. She wanted to make sure I went down for it. Lambert. Did Charles tell you about the affair? Diana. Yes. ASHFORD. What happened after he told you? Silence. Then Diana spoke. Diana. He gave me DNA test results, showed me the kids aren't mine, told me he'd been sleeping with my mother for 15 years. Lambert. How did you react? Diana. I got angry, threw a lamp, screamed. ASHFORD. And then. Diana. He asked if I was done, like I was being dramatic. Like my entire life wasn't a lie. Her voice cracked. Diana. My hands went to his throat. I didn't plan it, I couldn't stop. Lambert. You strangled him. Diana. Yes. ASHFORD. And then. Diana. I panicked, put him in my truck, drove to the ship channel, threw his body in the water. Lambert. What about his phone? Diana. Storm drain on Harrisburg Street. Ashford wrote it all down. ASHFORD. Diana, why didn't you call the police? Tell them what Charles had done. Diana looked up. Tears streaming. Diana. Because it wouldn't have changed anything. The kids still wouldn't be mine. My mother still destroyed my life, and Charles would still have left me. Lambert. So you killed him. Diana. So I killed him. Diana Curtis was charged with second-degree murder. Her trial lasted 6 weeks. The defense argued crime of passion, extreme emotional disturbance. The prosecution argued premeditation, the disposal of the body, the lies to police. The jury found her guilty. 15 years to life. Michelle Curtis was charged as accessory after the fact. She knew about Charles's plan to tell Diana. Did nothing to stop it. 2 years probation. Greg Curtis filed for divorce. Got custody of Kyle, Jamie, and Trent. DNA tests confirmed they were Michelle and Charles's biological children. The kids are in therapy, trying to understand how their grandmother is their biological mother. How their mother, the only mother they'd ever known, killed their father. Christmas decorations still visible through windows. A family destroyed. By lies. By betrayal. By one moment when rage became murder. This is what happens when secrets buried for 15 years finally come to light. Not redemption. Not justice. Just destruction. So here's my final question for you. In this story, who was the real villain? Was it Diana, who murdered her husband in cold blood? Was it Charles, who betrayed his wife with her own mother for 15 years? Or was it Michelle, the mother who destroyed her daughter's life for her own desires? Drop your answer in the comments and tell me, could you forgive any of them? If this story made you feel something, hit that like button. Subscribe for more true crime that will make you question everything you think you know about family, loyalty, and how far betrayal can push someone. Because the scariest stories aren't about strangers. They're about the people we trust most. When everyone is guilty, can anyone be innocent?